We had the opportunity to discuss all three of these in some private episodes that we did exclusively on YouTube. So if you did not go check those out, please go do so. Gators grabbed 3 commits last week, including a little bit of a surprise when they grabbed Fletcher Westfall, the offensive tackle from Virginia, on last Monday, beating out Clemson and Arkansas. I tweeted this the other day. Grabbing him from Sam Pittman, in my opinion, is a bigger deal than grabbing him from Clemson. But Silk, we've had a week to think about it. Thoughts on Fletcher Westfall for the fan base here?
I've been saying it for a while. I've been watching Sale and Stapleton. See how they step the game up. This year is a down year for offensive linemen, but I thought we needed to bring in a blue chip offensive lineman, especially at tackle. We got some guys that I do love in the room so far, but they're all developmental guys. So for them to go into town, not into town, for them to go into this recruitment, and I thought it was versus Clemson. That's been changed afterwards, and they said that Pittman was in Arkansas was the second team. But Pittman is an absolute legend when it pertains to developing offensive linemen. We did a great job with the family. I like the way the family was talking when they left the visit. Father is super active on socials with promoting his son and also the University of Florida right now. But this kid has a mean streak. He has the feet, the size. He's 6'8" or something crazy. So everything that you want out of offensive lineman, the offensive tackle, to staple down things on one end, maybe left tackle, you got in this guy, man. We still got an opportunity to add to that room when it pertains to offensive tackle, but love to get, and I think that recruiting in offensive line is going to get better. I think this was a bad year for those guys to try to get better and up their game, being that the talent pool was a lot less than normal.
Yeah, but even if the talent pool is less than normal, I kind of look at it like if you're talking about a recruit that plays, let's say like small 1A ball. It's all right, cool. You're playing, you have to dominate the competition then. So like if you're Florida and okay, we need to retool the trenches, get more players in there. All right, well, get the best of what's available and then use the transfer portal, in the off season to kind of piecemeal things together as you need to. But if you look at it, I think Florida's putting together a really solid, first off, an unbelievable recruiting class to begin with. But then when you look at the trenches, I think you get guys like Fletcher and the other guys they've gotten on offensive line and defensive line. I think they're doing a really good job. And 6'8", 335, I say it all the time. Like they've got a type when they go after these guys.
Yeah, no, obviously a huge get. Winning and beating Sam Pittman, like I said, is a huge thing. No matter what the school is, Sam Pittman is widely considered one of, if not the best offensive line coaches in the country. Obviously, very few offensive line coaches end up becoming head coaches. So being able to grab that is a huge win for the Gators, for Rob Sale, for Darnell Stapleton, and Florida as an overall unit needing to continue to build and develop talent. I think a lot of us would agree that Sale and Stapleton have great reputations for developing offensive linemen. Stapleton played in the NFL, played in the Super Bowl. Rob Sale has been an offensive line coach, offensive coordinator for a long time now. Experience in college, experience in the NFL, a lot of experience putting guys into the NFL and developing them. But now it's the opportunity where if you can develop a 4-star player, highly ranked, great skill set, great size, great motor, being able to develop those guys rather than hoping that you can win out of the gems or out of the weeds is huge. So great get for them.
Real quick, back to the team. So I saw Hurdle said Will Haraz no longer with the program. That wasn't new. It was just he's not on the roster. Will was a part of the 2019 signing class, graduated in 18. He walked last year on senior day. A guy that I don't think he was on scholarship, but I don't think was going to play. Will probably look to graduate transfer, go somewhere else, or maybe he's just done playing football, but he's not on the team now.
Graduated with a degree in criminology with honors, originally a 3-star out of Fort Washington, Maryland. Never really saw much playing time here at UF. So
criminology, maybe he can go up to Athens.
Maybe so. Maybe so, Nick.
I hope
Um,
so.
let's see. The Gators then, uh, not long after, I think it was on Wednesday, the Gators grabbed another commitment in Kendall Jackson, Thursday, pardon me, 6'3", 250-pound defensive lineman out of Buchholz here in Gainesville. Again, 4-star guy, 3-star guy, depending on what service you look at. A guy who last year did a really good job, I thought, as a junior. Should have a good season for the Gators, but again, the Gators. Kendall Jackson said that Florida was his dream school. Florida doesn't seem to get a lot of the dream school kids, but Florida
That's
finally
usually
does.
a death sentence.
Yeah, it's a death sentence for Florida, but who was it that committed somewhere else and was wearing a Florida Gator backpack a few years ago? But
Lamar
Kendall
Jackson.
Jackson commits to Florida. What are your thoughts on him, boys? We didn't. I think I was the only one that did that video. So, what are your thoughts on Kendall Jackson?
Lamar Jackson wore the backpack.
Yeah, that's it.
Should have been a Gator.
Bro,
McElwain was
Lamar
chasing
Jackson
Francois.
Lamar Jackson was like ready to play receiver for Will Muschamp.
Nah, he definitely was gonna play quarterback for anybody where he went.
I think he just wanted to be a Gator.
He did. McElwain had him on the hook, but then all the leakage of all the information that came out of us chasing Francois toward the end. Drew Weatherford came in and made sure Francois attended Florida State, which turned out to be a great thing. But anywho, it was Lamar Jackson that we're talking about that wore the backpack.
I parked my car next to Drew Rutherford every day.
Was that the one that was in the handicap spot? You were next to the handicap spot? Or was that Chris Ricks? That was Chris Ricks, the handicap.
Chris Ricks has still got Lyme disease, I believe. Was that him? Was that Lyme disease guy? No, that was oh man, my knowledge of FSU quarterbacks is diminishing anyway. But yeah, no, I park next to Drew Rutherford every day.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you a nice ice pick, help you out with some tires. I'm just joking. Kendall Jackson was a really good really good get for several reasons. We got to load up on that position. There's a lot of opportunity, I would say, and upgrading of that spot. His mom is a graduate from the University of Florida. Uncle was Aubrey Hill, so there's a lot of connections there. He's at Buchholz, which is a local program. Miami, Kentucky was the competitors there. Kentucky came in the second. Kentucky coveted him very high, I would say, in this process. I know Florida was playing recruiting a little bit and had some other guys at that spot that was taking official visits. But as we started getting some commits, things started changing, and his date changed. He moved his date up to solidify him a spot. But an absolutely great get. I think he would be ranked higher if he cared about camps. He's just a kid that doesn't like camps and the politics of recruiting and rankings. Also, his dad is who I'm doing the new barbershop show with, his stepdad. So I got a connection with that family. Absolutely good get. I think we got a kid that's gonna come in with his hair on fire and ready to add to his legacy. And so he looks at Aubrey Hill, who he's very close with, as was one of his inspirations. So very good get, man. Coach Spencer is killing in the defensive line room.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I had my old Twitter account back because I said it back in April. Like, Coach Spencer's about to go on a crazy run. And here we are, man. We're going to see if we can close it off with a couple more guys. Maybe we get L.J. McCray to make a decision before the season. That's not likely, but we're hot right now. We'll see where we at with it. But a great get by the defensive lines, becoming one of our best defensive line hauls and recruiting of all time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we've got Kendall as a 4-star, and I like that too. Just the guys, you're not going to want everyone from Gainesville, from Buchholz, or from Gainesville High School, but the ones that you do want, you want to keep them home. Shout out to Anthony Richardson staying home. But I think you're right, Silk. Like, every interaction I've had with Coach Chaos, high energy dude, super authentic. It does not surprise me at all that he's a great recruiter, because he just has a dynamic personality, true to himself, true to the way he is. Easy to buy into the kind of person he is, especially if you're a parent and you're, hey, where's my baby boy going? I feel comfortable, putting him in the care of this man. So I think as long as he's at Florida, he's going to, clean up and recruit.
Him and
like
Armstrong on the same sidelines in the same defensive room is contagious energy, man, that we need for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And put a little respect on Jay Bateman's name. I think he's the
number
local
3
area
recruiter
guy.
in the country.
Little local guy. Bateman
Y'all almost
handles,
fired him, man. I'm glad y'all didn't fire him.
Not y'all. I'm not y'all.
Oh.
But yeah, Bateman's cleaning up. So it's a really strong, both trenches. Offensive line, I think it's gone really well, and defensive line, the class is great and has potential to be even better. And yeah, moving on to Dan's favorite commit.
Yeah, no, the last one happened Friday evening at around 6:50 or so. Teddy Foster from Cardinal Mooney, defensive back, 3-star guy right now. We talked a lot about him. He's a guy that I've been plugged into his recruitment for about the last 7-8 weeks now. And a guy that, is going to rise the rankings, and I think is going to ultimately end up being a 4-star guy. A lot of people want to compare him to Jakeem Jackson. I don't want to say that he couldn't potentially have a very big rise in the rankings, but I want to tell you that they're different players. They're different defensive backs. Just because they happen to be from the same county and both play defensive back and committed to Corey Raymond does not mean that they're the same player or are going to be asked to do the same thing. So I know we want to make that connection. It's easy, right? The same way we like to compare, if you're a white defensive back, you're similar to Jason Sehorn. Not necessarily, right?
Not necessarily. Could be Sean Lynch.
Yeah. So, but anyway, 3-star defensive back commits to Florida over North Carolina and Miami. I know a lot of Miami fans were getting in their feelings Friday, said they weren't recruiting him. I can 100% assure you that
sure.
Mario Cristobal and the Miami staff leading up to Wednesday were still very actively recruiting. If Miami fans don't like to hear that news, I would be more than happy to show you the text messages as well.
Is that what the shareholder meeting was about?
No shareholder meeting, Nick. You'd be surprised to know that we still have not had a shareholder meeting. And we still don't have financials for 1 year and 12 days, I believe, is where we're at these days.
I thought maybe you did have a shareholder meeting and it was just about who Miami was still recruiting.
No.
Okay.
So, Nick, your thoughts? Teddy Foster, Soak and I had a good conversation on Friday about it, but your thoughts?
I think it's a great player. And as Florida continues to try to retool, I don't know what the number will be, but you're going to lose some guys from that secondary. You had a really strong secondary class last year. And I think you just need to get probably 5-6 guys between cornerbacks, safeties, nickels every year. So I think that the Florida staff raved about him. One of the best players from one of the stories that Keith Niebuhr put out, it was called A Coach's Dream. And the kid's dedicated, a relentless worker. So those are the kind of guys you want to fill your roster out with and the kind of guys you want in your locker room.
Yeah. From a size perspective, only thing he's missing, I would say, is the verified speed, which his staff values. So I don't see the verified speed, but he came in, worked out, and when you look at his tape, his junior tape, I think is, speaking of him and Jakeem Jackson, his junior tape might be better than Jakeem Jackson. Jakeem has some verified speed, and he camped crazy. So his ranking went up a little higher. He had more opportunities. Teddy's a late riser when it pertains to getting his name out there. But when you look at the film, off ball, on ball, he played a lot of receiver. Once he's focused on one position, I think he knows that now. I think his DB film gets a little bit better. But you look at that film, bro, whether he's jamming, whether he's off ball, the kid could come up and make plays, man, whether it pertains to the run game, closing, ball hawking. It's a lot to be desired, man, and getting him on campus. There were some comparisons to him and Jalen Ramsey as far as his length. So a very rangy kid, just how Corey Raymond likes him. And there's some other kids on our DB board that are ranked higher, but, we coveted him a little bit more. So we'll see where we at with it. There's an opportunity for us to get better in the DB room with the mainland boy, Zay Mincy, and also I don't know where we at with Wardell Mack. We'll see where we at. I think he's coming to the cookout as well. But right now, you got to love – we got Jamari Howard coming to the cookout. So that's probably our DB boy right now. But I love Teddy Foster. I love this kid. Dan, you mentioned that he's most likely going to end up as a top 300 guy. I have that same opinion. He's going to be a 4-star, top 300. I just want to see him lock down one position. He'll probably play two because it's just high school. They need him on both sides of the ball.
Right.
But his focus will be primarily on defensive back now. And we should see the film skyrocket a little bit in his ranking.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I think he's going to be a good player again. Just a couple years of true football experience. I think he's got a lot of good people in his corner as well. A lot of good coaches and additional trainers and stuff that are going to help watch him continue to develop. He's a kid that's not about a lot of the attention. He's a guy that just wants to focus and wants to get better. I know he mentioned during his interview with Keith Niebuhr, for his commitment story about him going and learning from Corey Raymond and his team did a couple of visits over the summer where they traveled to a bunch of different schools, including Florida State, Georgia, I think Valdosta State, and there are a few others. And each and every one, his goal was to try to figure out a way to get better and a way to improve his game and really dial into what the coaches were saying and not just make it all about me. But also he wanted to commit before the season started so that he could focus on the game and on getting better and being a contributor at the next level. So congratulations to him and the Gators. So right now, the Gators sit at 21 commitments, I believe. 20 commitments, I'm sorry. Ranked number 4 overall in the country, ranked 3rd in the SEC. They just got passed by Alabama on the on-3 composite and have a 92.5, which is almost a full point higher than the class last year. 20% of them are in-state and 70% blue chip ratio. So things are looking good for Gators and recruiting. Any final thoughts on recruiting before we get to the next topic, which is welcoming Florida Gators golf coach and national champion J.C. Deacon?
Deontay Robinson is deciding on the 20th this week, which is I think it's down to us in Texas. Georgia and Bama were factors in his recruiting, but I think the final 3 may have been us. I think Bama's going to recruit him to the very end, from what I understand. But a guy that comes in, we haven't got him yet. We'll see where we at with it. But I like where we at in his recruiting. He decides July 20th. Guy that's 350 from Orlando Jones. Keeping some Florida kids close to the crib is very important. But this is a real good and real important recruiting, man. Georgia's loading up on their offensive line, and they're going to need to with what we got loading up at defensive line. So we'll see where we at with it on July 20th. You guys stay tuned for that one. Big one on the way.
Not a recruiting note, but I think we got more than 100 people in here. Only 30 likes. If you're hitting here, if you're sitting
70
here,
70 haters.
if you're sitting here still listening before JC gets on, hit the like button. It's free. It helps get us out there. Helps with the algorithm. And also, Silk, I need a recurring guest spot in the barbershop.
Got you, bro. You got to pull up on us, man. Pull up Wednesday. We're gonna be in town. I was gonna hit you on the jack. We'll talk, man. But yeah, pull up, hang out. We're doing just for the people that Nick brought up, we're doing a NIL show out of a barbershop right there in Gainesville for NFL athletes, all the athletes on campus. It's called Beyond the Chump. Go follow us on Instagram, Twitter. YouTube hasn't dropped yet. We're going to drop it on the Roll Up Network's YouTube, but it's with me. And like I said before, it's Kendall Jackson's stepfather and his mom are the co-creators of this show. So it should be something dope. We're going to launch off this first episode on Wednesday. Got some important Gators coming up to film with us. We'll see where we at with it, but I think we got one of the best NIL